Hi YouTube friends, it's Lee here. I'm so glad you've joined me. So I'm going to be making a heart-shaped journal for Valentine's Day. There's a couple of things to take into consideration. One of the things you need to think about is how big do you want the book to be? How thick do you want the covers and the pages to be? What's the purpose of the book? Is it going to be a book that you can write in, or is it a book that you can store bits and pieces in, or is it just going to be something to look at? So with a heart-shaped book, there's another consideration too, is that do you want the book to be a heart shape when you open it out, or do you want it to be like a double heart when you open it out? Say you wanted the book to be a heart when you open it out, then your book needs to be half a heart in shape. Like if you make the cover a heart shape, then when you open it, it's going to be like two hearts side by side. But what I prefer is just to have one single heart and have the book open up so that it is a heart shape. I'll show you what I mean. I'll cut it something like that. So you'd have a book that's shaped like that, and when you open it up, it's a heart. The other way to do it is to have a book that is heart-shaped on the front. So when you open it up, you'd have hearts side by side. But what I'm going to go for is this type. That's not the best heart. It's more like, I don't know what you'd call that. But yeah, this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to have my book to be half a heart. I think the easiest thing to do is to draw the shape of the heart that I want. And then once I get that done, to fold my piece of paper in half. So I want mine to look something like that. Let's see. So that would be like that, and then I'd get that shape when I opened it up. So I would like that type of shape. That's way too small though, so I want to make it bigger. And what I want it to do with it is I want to incorporate these pages that I made yesterday, these tags. So I need to think about the that size. So I like my pages to poke out from each other. I don't like everything held within the covers. They don't have to be for me. That's just a personal choice. So you may not like yours to be that way. You might want it something completely different. So let's try that. And see, that would just about fit in there perfectly. So I would need to have two of these. And I'm going to try and make it out of this. This is quite thick cardboard. And I should be able to get two. I'm going to use a binding method that I saw Matteo doing. And he said it's called slip knot binding. So it's sort of similar to Coptic binding but less complicated. So I'll cut one out and then I'll use that to cut another one. So I've cut my two pieces off, and what I'm going to do now is remove the shiny coating, the piece of paper that's been glued over the cardboard. Get rid of that. And it comes off quite easily because it's just glued on. Okay, so that's my book covers, my front and my back. So when the book is closed, it's going to look like that. And I probably need to straighten this edge up a little bit. Okay, perfect. So these tags that I made yesterday will go in here as pages. So as you can see, they stick out beyond the book, but that's fine. I want it to be like that. And I'm going to put one there, and I've got my other one over here. And this one's going to have the hearts protrude out of it, so that's going to be sticking out like so. And then I'll put in about another 3 or 4 pages. Okay, so what I want to do is collage these, because it is a Valentine's Day book. I want to make it look nice and feminine, so I want to use some things like this on it, on the front cover anyway. And so the first thing I'm going to do is lay a foundation of paper onto my cardboard. So this will make it nice and thick and strong. It'll also make anything else that I put on top, such as paint or gesso, will just coat much better with this paper being on the cardboard. Alright, so I've got my 2 covers, a front and back, and what I've done with these paints here, vermilion and burgundy, they're acrylic paints, is I've painted the outside with a fair bit of the paint. Both colours are on each cover, and then I've just used a watery wash on the inside. But what I want to do now is use my black gesso and go around the edges. Now I do have a couple of stencils sitting on my desk, and I am thinking I'm going to try it on the inside one first. So I'm not worrying about the paint smushing around. I really don't care. But I'm going to just put a little bit of stenciling on here. That's quite nice. So I'm going to do the same with this side. Just a little bit random. Don't particularly want it totally covered. Just a few shapes. I'm just adding a little bit of interest. I'm going to dry that off. And I'm going to do it on the inside because I like the way it looks. I'm going to do it on the outside because I like the way it looked on the inside. So I'm just going to use the same stencil. And I'm going to put them together and go this way. So other things are going to be added onto these covers. Not so much the back one, but definitely the front one. So this is going to be the front. Okay, it didn't turn out as good. Maybe my brush had a bit of water in it. It's okay. Oh, I know what it is. The paint's gone underneath the stencil. So I'm going to quickly wipe that off. The baby wipe. And then redo it. Taking the other paint off though. I actually like the way it looks now. See, there's a bit of paint on that stencil, and I'm going to just press that on there. Just to get rid of it. And I'll start again with my stenciling. I won't add any water to it this time. That's better. Okay, so this is my back cover. So that's outside of my back. That's the inside of my back. I'm going to put that aside for the moment. I'm not going to be doing anything else with that until I come to decorate the inside. And the back, I really like the way that back looks, so it's not going to have much more work done to it. This is my front cover, so that's the outside and that's the inside. So I want to build up some texture on the outside, so I thought I could put this on here, glue it on, and then cover it in black gesso. So I'm going to cut the net away from the outside of it, see, like that, so that it trails down to the bottom. So I'm going to glue that down now with Mod Podge. If you're enjoying this video and you're finding value and information here, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm thinking, I think I'll just dab a little bit more of this red colour around, just a bit. Just want to blend out that black from around the edge of the applique. Okay, so that's going to go out in the sun to dry. Okay, that is dry. Look at that. Now hear this. This is why I love using Mod Podge. Makes everything sound, I don't know, just got a beautiful feeling about it, beautiful sound. So what I'm going to do now is just to dry brush some white gesso over that, and then I've got this colour change paint called Gold Flash. This brush has been left uncleaned, so it's got really stiff bristles, and I'm not wetting it. I'm just it's a bit like a scrubbing brush, so pretty much that's what I'm doing with this, is scrubbing the gesso over it. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Looks like I need to apply a little bit of this. I'm not sure what this colour looks like. I'm going to use the same brush. Not putting as much on. I just want to catch the bits that are up high. Okay. Is the colour showing through? I'm not sure whether you can actually see that. But what I'm going to do now is go around the edge, just here. So I just want it to be a hint. I'm going to do that on the back cover as well. I'm thinking that some other colour in there, and more yellowish gold might look nice. Maybe some gilding paste. So this one is golden olive. A little bit darker than that other gold, so yeah, I like that better. Rightio, so that's what I'm doing on them unless I change my mind a bit later on. So I'll pop them away. I'm going to make some pages. So these are the 5 pages I'm going to make. This one is obviously quite different to them in that it's a square. What I'm going to do with this one is to take this particular image. I'm going to glue the lady down on there. I know it's the same. It's the same as this. Oh, so I've got to remember that these pages are going in there as well. So maybe I won't use this one. So I think I'll just stick with these plus this one. I need to find a different person. I don't want to have the same face on there. So I've got this one. I think I'll do this instead. Okay. So with this one, it's going to stay raw cardboard. These ones are going to be painted with gesso, and then they will be collaged. So they've had their foundation of collage paper glued down. Now I'm just going to add some white gesso and put them aside to dry. So I've cut out my image of this lady or girl. I'm going to put her onto this cardboard. So what I'll do once it's dry is I'll cut around the top layer of the cardboard with a craft knife, and then I'll pull off that top layer just to leave the corrugations showing, and that way she'll be surrounded by the corrugations. So I've got a little bit of some bronze or copper paint, and I'm going over that applique again. So it's a lot of push and pull with this type of thing, where you add a layer, add something else, add something else, add another layer, and I just keep changing the colours and adding bits and pieces on until I'm happy with the way it looks. I thought it was a little bit insipid before, like too light, so I'm darkening it up and giving it some more depth. After adding some of that red paint, I then just barely skim over this with my finger and some white gesso. And then I'm going to add some of a more yellowy warm gold over the top of that again. And apply some of it around the edge of the cover with my finger. And this is what it looks like now, so I'm quite happy with that. I think it's got a lot of depth and I really do like it. So here I am with a craft knife, so I'm just cutting around my my lady, just to break through that top layer of the paper that's on top of the corrugated cardboard. And now I'm carefully pulling away that top layer. I'm a little bit out of screen, out of shot, so sorry about that. But I'm using a bamboo skewer to get underneath that layer of paper. And because I made the cut with a knife, it just pulls away at the edge of the image, so that works out quite well. So once I've finished getting all the that top layer off, I'm going to apply a little bit of gesso over the corrugations, and then a little touch of gold paint. So I'm just at the moment painting the back of that cardboard with white gesso. So this is when I decide I'm going to put some white on there just to add a little bit more interest to the corrugations. I don't mind if I get a little bit of paint on my image. That doesn't bother me at all. I actually like it when things like that happen. And there's the gold going on. And then I'll go around the edge of it with black gesso. So now I've got my stencil again, and I'm just going to do some stenciling on the pages before I start adding other colours to them. So I'm going to use some of this red. Now that black gesso is not dry yet, so the red is actually, when it touches the black, is mixing with the black, and it's making that beautiful, I don't know how you describe that colour. It's like a really deep ruby red. It's lovely. So I'm going to add some gold on there now, just to lighten it in some places, and I'm just letting it all mix together. So all these layers of paint are just going to create so much depth on these pages. You look at them and it'll be like looking into, I don't know, like a piece of opal or a fire or something like that. You know, it's not all one colour, it's all these different colours merging together. So black gesso around the edge of the pages again. And you can see I've got some red paint off my fingers on the other side. Not worried about that. I don't care about that sort of thing at all. So this is the 4 pages finished. So I think they look really lovely. Now it's time to do the binding. So what I've done with all my pages is I've made 3 holes. I did a template, and then I used the template to make the holes in the page. You start from the back and you work forward. So with this thread, this is waxed linen thread. I did try to use something else, but it was painful. It kept tangling up. But the wax thread I found was the easiest to work with. So you just double your thread over. My pieces are way too long too, by the way, but better safe than sorry. So you double it over and you push that loop, that doubled over end, through from the top. So you've got that loop hanging underneath. And then when you bring it forward, and you just pull the ends through that loop. So you see again, make the double the thread over, push the loop through to the back, and then pull the other threads through the loop. And that's the back, that's the cover done. So that's the first lot. Now the next page I've got on my book is a bit different because it's only got 2 holes. So if you were doing like a book like someone who's not like a normal person would do, let's say, you would be doing 3 holes. Okay, so same thing, poke the thread through. You don't have a loop anymore because you've used that one up on the back page. Go through the top to the back of the page, and then just pull the threads through themselves. So through the top, open out the threads, and then pull that through the opening of the threads. So it's very easy. It's really, really easy, and it looks really nice. And I can imagine on a book that's not all wibbly wonky like this one I'm making, that you'd get a beautiful, almost like a chain stitch effect. So through the top, divide the threads, push that through, and then do the same with the other holes. Always going from the top through to the bottom. So down through the top, open the threads up and push it through, bring it to the front, and when I'm doing it I don't tighten it up until I've got the whole 3 in there, and then I'm not tightening it very much because I want the book to move freely, to open and close, and I want it to be able to be flat when it opens out, which it will be. So doing the cover now, so it's exactly the same, but then you need to tie it off so that the binding holds. So it's really simple. Once I get it all tensioned to the tightness that I want, it's just a matter of getting one of your threads, going in behind the page, or the cover in this instance, so go in and out the other side. So same thing with the next thread, you go in the opposite direction, so going left to right. So the first one was right to left and the second one was left to right. Doesn't matter which way you do it, as long as they both go one left and one right. So that's as easy as it is, and then just tie off the threads. So one in on the left and come out on the right of the stitch. And then the second thread in on the right and out on the left. So my thread was a little bit tangled there from the previous one, so I just pulled that through. Okay, so last one. So over to the left and behind the stitch and come out on the right hand side, and then because I went to the left the first time, I go to the right the second time and bring it around, come out on the left hand side of that stitch and tie it together. So it sounds complicated when you say it, but when you see it, it's very easy. I think it's one of the easiest bindings, and it's definitely way less complicated than Coptic binding and has a very similar effect. So you can see how the pages are all laying beautifully flat. Got a nice bit of movement, not too much. Just turn the book around. That's what the back covers look like when they're opened out. How gorgeous is that? Loving this. Now it's time to add a few little decorations on. So this is that double-sided heart that I made the other day. And I'll add a few things on there. It's time to decorate some of the inner pages, and I'm just making a little tab here out of two hearts that are almost the same size and shape. So I'll just glue one side of them together and pop them aside to dry, and then later on I'll attach that to a page. So I've made a little rectangle out of paper bag, printed paper bag. So that's going to be a container to hold some hearts. I'm just drawing some stems onto the page, and then I'll glue a little heart onto each one of those, and then glue another one onto the paper bag. I'm going to attach that tab to a page now. So I decided that it's going to go onto this one. So all I need to do is just to squirt some glue in between the open bits and then push it on and leave it to dry. Just a little bit of detailing with a fine liner pen around some of these hearts. And I've glued a little strip of sequins to the top of the little writing page on the other side. I decided to add another bit of writing spot here. My glue stick I'd left with the lid off, and when I applied it, it tore that paper in half. And I thought, oh, well, I'll just go with it. And I stuck the two pieces on and separated them so it looks like it's obvious it was meant to be torn. This page has got a little hole because I punched my hole in the wrong place. I had my template upside down, so I'm just going to use a little bit of that sequin strip. I just broke off a couple of sequins and glued it on. And here's the finished book. Isn't it beautiful? I just love it. I love everything about this. Love the colours, love the dangles, love the shapes, love the oddness, like the mixed up sized pages, and yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. The only thing I would change, and looking at this while I'm editing it, is I would have taken a little bit of the whiteness off those other pages that have just got gesso on them, but I think they just need to be grunged a little bit more. But all the pages open out flat. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, and let me know if you make a book, how it turns out. So I really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, can you hit the subscribe button? Doesn't cost you anything. And I'll see you soon for another video. So happy creating. Hugs and cheers from Australia. Hooroo.